We are live.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. This is the Frag Illuminati with another live show to talk about fragrances. Our topic for today is building your fragrance collection. We're going to talk about the do's, the don'ts, the what's, the whatnots, the proper way of doing it, the non-proper way of doing it, or however you do it. Before we get started, I want to introduce our guest, starting with Andre,
What's happening?
followed by
Oh,
Eric, and
just
then
it.
Bernie.
Hey, everybody, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in.
What's happening? What's happening? Thanks for coming in for another episode of Frag Illuminati.
That sounds scripted, bro. That sounds scripted.
Off the top, off top.
All y'all sound scripted for
I
real.
spit hot fire over here. Off the top, off the top.
Well, let me start this thing off by asking Andre, Eric, and Bernie, give us a roundabout number you have in your collection. I know I have roughly between 60 and 70 in mine. If you had to
Might be
speculate,
around. If I had to guess, I might be around about 150, 150,
Mm.
160-ish.
eight.
Yeah.
I got an exact number for you. I'm at 145 with
Good
five on
God.
the way.
Mm.
With five on the way.
Okay,
70.
Bernie,
70.
70 right
Yeah,
there,
70.
right in range with me, man.
That just came down to 70.
Well, let me ask this question. Did you all have a targeted range when you started collecting and the amount that you wanted to take it to and max out? I know my target was 50.
Nope. I didn't even think about it.
Didn't think about it, Andre?
I just sit up and grab everything. I didn't think about it at all.
I mean, I didn't think
I really didn't even start thinking about it until after I really started getting heavy. And then I realized I didn't want to keep too many. What's happening, Donisha?
Eric, Bernie, y'all have a number?
Well, I didn't have a number at first, but once my collection got to the point to where it is now, I got to the point where I was like, okay, you got to meet a certain criteria before I continue to add, right? Because I have enough, right? But at the beginning, I did not think of a number.
Me, no. It was no number at all. It was just trying to get whatever sense that I like, and I didn't even pay attention to the number.
Well, you guys know me, and you know I have a formula, man, and I'm pretty. Hey, Natasha, hey, Shaniqua, I'm pretty targeted on what I do, man. I mean, y'all say I'm scripted, but I'm also regimented too. When I looked to build my collection, I already had an idea of how many I wanted. I wanted 50, and I have a formula that I actually use based upon that amount being reasonable. And when I say reasonable, not just sitting on the shelf. Those are some that I'm able to use. Right now, at 50, the formula I use, that would give me about 5 sprays of 5 days of wearing out each bottle over a period of a year's time. And with the shelf life estimated to be 3 to 5 years on an unopened fragrance, that's what I based my number 50 on. I thought that was logical and reasonable. Um, I think before you start out, you should understand or identify your price point, how much you're wanting to spend on a fragrance, the size bottles that you're interested in. Last week, Dre talked about how to buy fragrances. Week before that, we talked about the notes, understanding your notes, know what you're looking for. Yeah, you're gonna make mistakes. There are gonna be some things you're gonna buy right off the top that smells good that later you'll find out you'll be getting rid of. I was talking to Bernie earlier, and Bernie, it's called a transition collection. Bernie went through, and he was telling me how many you say you gave away to your son, Bernie.
I gave 10 to my son.
Gave 10 away, and those
Mm-hmm.
10 equate to dollars.
Mm.
But what I found, the ones that I've given away, I've turned around and replenished to replace the ones that I did give away. So I pretty much stay around where I want to be. I do a lot of experimenting. I mean, sampling, testing. I prioritize. I have a list. You guys know I have a list that I work off of. When I sample something, I write it down on the list, and then I go down the road, and as I set myself up for a budget to buy it, then I'll mark off the thing that I have identified that I want the most, and go from there. So research is real good on the product you're gonna buy. Ball size is real good. Know the size ball you want, and then stay within that target and range. Now, Andre, bruh, you ain't gonna do none of that, and I know you're not. So
Nah,
tell me the rationale that you use, or tell us the rationale you use to get to where you are. Or is
I
there
don't
one?
have. Nah, I don't have one. Like I said, the only thing I'm doing now, I am trying to stay within a certain range. I don't know what that range is, but I know I don't want to be in the $300-400 bottle range. I mean, not $100, but 300-400 bottle range because it's not necessary. Um, I, I, I really haven't thought about it. Like I try to make sure whatever I get is usually at least close to mind blowing. Um, 'Cause I just can't get regular stuff no more. And what I did, I gave a lot of my fragrances away too in a lot of these Facebook groups because there's people out there that want to try stuff and may not have as much money as others. So I always try to look out for people like that. I really don't have a method at all. I just try to get what I like, or what I would think I like. I go through, and like we said on prior episodes, I go through people that give me good recommendations on whatever I get, uh, recommendations on what to get, and those trusted noses, I just go that route. I usually just get it. I don't. It's nothing or nothing like that. So uh,
Eric?
that's pretty much it with me.
Well, me when I first started out, I just was, if it was hot, I was buying it. But I had gotten to the point where in 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 my collection where I had a lot of duplicates or a lot of redundancy. What I mean by that is a lot of fragrances that smelled exactly alike. I had a lot of vanillas, I had a lot of roses, I had a lot of leathers, right? So now what I do is what I've done is I eliminated the ones that I don't wear. Right. So when you asked the question late earlier, what do you do to, I mean, did you have a number? No, I didn't have a number. But what I do now is that I won't purchase anything that's not necessarily going to be in the rotation, right? And also, when building my collection, like when we sit here and say that, like me and like myself and Dre has over 140 bottles. Nobody needs a collection that big unless you plan on or either selling or being an influencer or being on YouTube like we are, right? So no one actually needs a collection that big unless they plan on doing something of that nature. It's hard. The challenges that I have is that it's hard to find time to wear all of these things. I mean, all of these fragrances, and there's chances where just to, I mean, I love them so much that I'll come home from work and I shower and put on another fragrance. There's times where I didn't put on 3, 4 fragrances a day, right? Just so I can have time to enjoy them. But what I do within my collection, I gotta have my classics. And my classics they include um staples like Issey Miyake, um Issey Miyake, Blue Day Chanel, Sauvage, even if they don't get as much put, those will always be in my collection. Of Ventus, even though I talk a lot of shit about
You
sorry,
do.
to language,
You do.
I talk a lot of stuff about Aventus, Adventures will always be in my collection. So those staples will always be there, but I always leave room for newer stuff, something newer that's coming out, or a genre in fragrances that I don't have. Right. So right now, um, we've been experimenting a lot with Middle Eastern fragrances, right? So I have my fill of that. So I have enough roses. I don't need any more roses. I got um, 8 rose scented fragrances. I don't need no more rose scented fragrances. So or vanillas, right? So anything that I add to my collection now would have to be considered hot. I'm looking for something that'll challenge my top 15, but you know me and
Whatever, man.
goals, so that ain't happening. Right.
But
Whatever,
do you sometimes, man, forget you have certain fragrances in your group with that amount? With that amount?
Yeah, yeah. And the thing is that uh, you might not believe it. I mean, you might not agree with me now, but when I say it for real, when I say it out loud, and you think about it, you guys might all be in the same boat that I am. When I look at my collection, and this is what drives you to continue to buy more. When I look at my collection after I haven't bought anything in 2 weeks, just from the visual of it, I get bored of the visual. So I'm looking for something new, right? So,
I'm with you
but
there.
it never happens when you smell it. Because I mean, when you spray some stuff and you be like, "Oh shoot, this smells wow," you like, okay, fine. You never get bored with the smell, but just looking at the same bottles, that's what you get bored with, and then that's what drives you to buy more stuff. So, mm,
I
Definitely have.
rediscover, man.
mm,
I just rediscover what I got.
Mm.
I'm like this, and we'll go to Bernie next. You do you all gravitate normally toward the same? I mean, I got a lot of good stuff, but I find that there's certain ones through different seasons I gravitate to more than others because I don't think sometimes people don't know who's building a collection that there are fragrances that you were mostly seasonal based upon the weather and the climate and time of year. So before we jump on that, that's a whole different show. But
not
Hmm.
Bernie, what about
necessarily,
you on that?
not
Say again.
necessarily. I mean, I'm gonna let Bernie go, but
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
that's not
Go ahead.
necessarily a different show. That's part of building a collection,
You
making
telling
sure
me
you
all that
have
because the
something
police got somebody pulled over, man.
making sure y'all have something that covers every season. So that is part of the show.
That's a
I'm
good
sorry,
point.
Bernie. Go ahead.
Oh no. How I built mines, I kind of go with a house that have a good reputation to make quality fragrances. Then I do reviews, talk to the Frag Illuminati, different people who have really good noses. And the house that I may go to may have like three or four, and I would get that. And then I go to the next house, similar to what you would do. And after I go through particular houses, if it's a banger or something to come out that have particular notes, then I'll go after that too. Because one of the things that I didn't like, what I did earlier, I started noticing a lot of the stuff smelled the same.
Mhm.
So I started trimming my collection down, saying, okay, I want a variety. I want my oud. I want this. I want that. So I have that wide range. And what I noticed is when I had that wide range in my collection, it was allowing me to appreciate my fragrances a lot better. Then I had some for summer and spring. Then I had some for winter and fall, which I'm starting to roll into now. So when I first started, it was through a house. After I got a few bottles from the house, then I moved to the next one. And then once I kind of got where I wanted to be, I never experienced Middle Eastern. And from Dre and Eric and the guys in the chat, started dealing with the Middle Eastern, and I'm almost done with that. So one of the things is I make sure I have different notes. If it is something that's redundant, it smells completely different. Like Eric and Dre can kind of speak on this, like why and why they supposed to be vanilla and rose, but they smell nothing alike, and they both stand in their own in the collection, so it's not redundant. but it do have similar notes. But it's like a good scent to have in your fragrance. I mean, in your collection, if that makes sense.
You would bring up one.
Oh man, whatever, you know. Oh, that's right.
Well,
Cause yeah. I'm sorry, brother. But
well, is it
y'all kind of get my point.
is it important to have patience when you're trying to build a collection, not to just rush out and buy anything that? Because I'm a real patient person, man. Y'all know me. I write my list out, and hey, I don't get drawn in from other stuff that you guys post. Even though Mondale would post stuff, man, put it in my face and try to high side me. He gets Dre right off the
Man,
top and Bernie right
man,
behind him.
Mondale can
But
sell some gutter water.
yeah, he told me his name one time. I was believing I was Mondale, man. But
That's one thing we gotta hand it to you, Leonard. Is you are the most patient, you are the most
yes,
disciplined
sir.
out of all of us,
Yeah.
and most patient. And if it's not part of your schedule and it's not part of your list, you are not purchasing it.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, none of
Nah,
the rest of us possess that trait.
no.
Oh, I do. I got that trait.
Yeah.
Man,
Where you
whatever.
get it
Add
from,
that to the
Dre?
list. Add it to the list.
Add it to the list.
I
Now,
mean,
Eric, you've got a
whatever.
number you got a
Mhm.
numbering system, Eric. That, and let me say this, audience: Eric rates his colognes on his collection based upon a certain formula that he uses, and I think it's real interesting um, the formula that he's created to identify the best to the least. And I'll say this: his least favorite is probably a lot of people's best fragrance.
Mhm.
And some of the numbers he put out, we'll look at and say, man, wait a minute, how you get that down that low, man? But Eric, give
Mhm.
us an idea how you came up with your rating. Tell us what your rating is.
Because see, I rate a little bit of everything in my fragrances. I mean, the scent gets the most. The scent is weighted the highest. So when we buy these fragrances, the most important thing is how it smells, right? So the fragrance. I mean, so the scent itself gets of the majority of the points, right? But then the presentation gets a point. The presentation has a possible of a point, right? Then the longevity or the performance has a possibility of a point. Then the versatility of it, how often do I wear it or how often I will wear it, gets a point, right? And uniqueness, right? Does it smell like, if it smells like something else, or it smells like, or if it has a very popular scent where there's a lot of fragrances that smell like that, that's a point. So when you look and you see fragrances in my collection and you see that they're like an 8 or a 7 or this or that, they either got a plain presentation, or they've been copied to death. So when you look at something like Creative Vintage and you see, okay, well, why does it have is only ranked a 7 or 8? Because how many fragrances smell like Creative Vintage? It doesn't have that uniqueness, right? So that's it in a nutshell. So it can be. I have fragrances in my collection that has a scent score, perfect scent score, but they'll lose out on, or the presentation. Like if you got a bottle that looks like anything like a Bordeaux Victorious, that's a great presentation, right? But then you have a bottle that um, you have a scent that smells just as good, but they have a plain presentation, so they lose a little. They don't get that whole point. So they don't get that whole point, and that's basically how I do it.
Yeah, that's really an interesting concept, man.
Mm-hmm.
I'd never heard of it broken down like that. But Professor, that's just what you do, man. So, I just go
I got a
along with
lot
it.
of time on my hands. I got a lot of time on my hands. But let me not say that, because there'll be people that calling me that don't answer the phone, and I be telling them I'm busy. So no, let me take that back.
Well, let me ask this question. I saw a guy post the other day.
Mm.
He posted on the fragrance group that somebody told him that if he'd have 540 in his collection, he didn't have a collection worth anything.
Powerful.
Now, to me, that's just my person. I don't have 540, but that doesn't mean I don't have a good collection. Collection for me is the things that I like.
Well,
because
I don't
that's
think
what I want. And I
if I
don't think.
remember
Go ahead.
if I remember correctly, I don't think none of us got 540 in our car.
I just got a decant. I can't stand
All right.
it.
I
I
had
got a
it.
decant.
I had it and
I
didn't
like it.
like it.
I just on my list, it didn't peak the top level, so I don't have it. I may get it one day, but it just didn't pique my interest. There are other things that I get more joy out of owning than 540. And
I'm gonna be
so
honest, Leonard. I don't think you're gonna get that.
you don't think I'm gonna get it?
Doubt it.
Well, well
You
for
never
me,
know.
I just was never able to smell it on me, right?
Mm.
And end up giving it to a friend of mine, and it smelled amazing on her, so I let her have it. But
Mm.
yeah, but for me, I never smelled it. And the funny thing about it, I do own Instant Crush, and
Mm.
Instant Crush just comes across a little bit more masculine to me, and I like that better. And I know how Jay feels about. I mean, I know how Andre feels about Mancera. We ain't gonna even get into that, but
Mm.
mm,
Yeah.
Let me
Mm.
ask you a question, guys. This is one term that I'm gonna ask about. Flanker. What's the term flanker? I hear when different companies put out fragrances, they say, well, this is just a flanker of that. What does flanker mean? You know, Eric? Is
yeah, I know. I was
variant?
gonna, yeah. I mean, it's just a um it's a scent that they do a little bit something more to, whether they change a note or two or whatever, and they add it to the same line of fragrances. Designers are notorious for doing that.
Mm.
um I'm not a flanker chaser, right?
Mm.
So I don't need to have the entire line. Now the only two that I have done that with has been Sauvage. I have the EDP and the elixir, but I mean, I don't have the perfume or the EDT, right? And so some people feel like, part of collecting is to get every flanker in the line. That's up to you. That's up to the individual. I don't feel like you need to chase flankers. It's just you just decide which one you want. Now there are certain flankers, you got certain flankers that are good for the springtime and some flankers that are good for the wintertime, and good for the wintertime, and folks make their decision based on that. And then certain flankers, they just um increase the alcohol. I mean, I'm sorry, increase the oil, making it stronger. And some people go for that, where think the EDP is stronger than the EDT, and that's not necessarily so on all fragrances. So you know, you, the EDP just might have a different note than what the EDT is, and that doesn't necessarily make it stronger or weaker.
Yeah, Natasha said the 540 smells better on women than it does men.
I think the
And I
reason
agree
why
with
I
that.
didn't like it is that I think so many people was wearing it. I think maybe that's the reason why. I don't think it's a bad fragrance, but I think what kind of turned my stomach every time I turned around, somebody had it on. So it kind of turned my stomach to it.
That's kind of like Sauvage and Aventus too.
Now, I'm glad you brought that up. Like some people who starting a collection, I know some people would say, if you're going to start a collection, make sure you have a Venice or certain ones that you should have just um, more along the line of like, I'm not saying it's historical or whatever, but it's like a staple that you build around or whatever the case may be. I've heard that, but one of the things I want to say to the newer collectors that's viewing the show, don't get into this habit that a lot of people do in these forums and someone throw a scent out and almost everyone runs to it because what's the proper term they call it, Eric? This is something fragrance is like it's hot for a minute and then they go to the next one, like the Haws or something like that, the purple joint. How everybody was buying that at one time. You remember?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but the only term I know is when they say FOMO, and I didn't know what that was until we got
Hmm.
into that one group when they say FOMO, and I didn't know what that was, and it was fear of missing out. And I was
Yeah.
like, right.
So
So,
make so the new people who building their collection,
mhm,
make sure
yep,
that you research, look for
mhm,
something, and get it because you want it. Don't get it because everyone else have it. You know what I mean? You're gonna wind up having like 30 bottles or something that you're not even passionate about. We love what we got in our collection, and we can spin the block as many times, and that's the part of building your collection. So get what you want to get, but don't chase what everyone else is getting.
and I think we've all been a victim of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Somewhat.
I mean, even amongst each other, because I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we all got the same Middle Eastern fragrance except for G-Man, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we've done it amongst each other where we sit there and we um look. I mean, one person got it, and then when they give their seal of approval, we all got it,
You
right?
got to get
So
that.
we got to get it. So right, and so right, so we've done that amongst ourselves, and we see a lot of it in a lot of these fake Facebook groups. The thing is to learn your notes and learn what it is that you like and you attract, because everything that one person like, you're not going to like, and you're going to end up with a whole bunch of stuff in your collection that you do not like.
I wanted to go back to what Lenny was talking about with flankers. One of the things I noticed too is you may not like maybe the first two fragrances, but you may like the last one. Like for instance, he mentioned the elixir Sauvage. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Me too.
Um, it was another. It's a few others like the one in a million. I think they made a few, and the last one that came out, a lot of people were really crazy about that one. So sometimes when they make a flanker, you may not like the other ones that's there. Just go sample it at the mall. Get a decan online from a trusted outsource and test it because sometimes the flanker, maybe the third or fourth one, may have the notes like Eric said that you may like, and you can go ahead and get that.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because I missed out on that 1 million flanker privé because
Hmm.
I mean
Hmm.
I'm a fan of the OG. I like,
Yeah.
when it comes to 1 million, I'm a fan of the OG. It's no longer in my collection. I had to get rid of it because I wasn't wearing it. But
Hmm.
um but I also had Lucky, and I was not a fan of. I bought Lucky because of the hype, and
Yeah.
once I got
Me
it, I
too.
did not like it. Right, and
Hmm.
I did not like it as much as the original. And then
Hmm.
I think based on the notes that I would have liked Privé, but by the time it came out, but by the time I knew about it or looked at the notes, it was already discontinued, and I'm not paying discontinued prices for to get my hands on the fragrance.
Hmm.
Dre, you back with us, man?
Can
I
you hear
hope
us,
he.
Dre?
I hope he ain't dealing with that hurricane. It look like it's sunny out there where he at.
He probably were. He probably safe. You know, Dre.
Yeah.
Natasha said that on the 540, she gonna
Mm-hmm.
layer. Natasha layers everything, man. So she's gonna come out smelling good. So we don't have to worry about that. Shanique J said she doesn't own 540 yet. So
Hmm. Hmm.
apparently it's no rush to get it. So I'm feeling that. Now let me go to my scent of the day.
Uh-oh.
This one, I don't know if you can see.
Mm.
I'm trying to get it on my screen. It's a
Hmm.
Clive Christian number one, a Libinum.
Mm.
Is one of 150 made worldwide.
Good God
So
Okay.
it's
Almighty.
a very rare fragrance. Um, this came out in 2017. It's called the Twist Edition of Twist line, where they created 11 fragrances with the number one, the X, and the 1872. And they added a twist to the regular fragrance. This one has a libidum in it, which is the
Hmm.
same frankincense. And so it adds a different twist to it and smells nothing like the original. I guess you say it's like a flanker,
Hmm.
but they're limited in numbers. And if you get one, you get one. I bought it because it's a collectible, and which is another thing with collection, you have to determine, are you collecting to where are you collecting to be collecting? And I have some fragrances in my collection I bought because they're collectors. I'm like the rest of you guys. I don't want to walk around smelling like everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
The fragrance community is a small community anyway. And so I think I'm safe by saying this. All of our collections are those that consist of fragrances that if we walk into a room, 100 people, with 100 people, the chances of us smelling like everybody else in the room are going to be slim to none. So know what you're collecting, the reason you're collecting, because I like one-offs. I have several different houses. They only make so many of that particular one, and those are the ones I gravitate towards. Do you
Great.
guys do that too?
I do what?
Collectors, fragrance collectors, specific fragrances,
Do I collect them?
a unique one, something rare.
I don't know. I'm so
Roja.
lost right now.
Roja.
Hey,
No,
what is that?
that ain't that unique
Yeah.
though. It's not really. I mean, they got a couple that might be rare, but nothing I'm really chasing.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't really have none. I don't. Not that I can think of. Oh, no. I know I want one of them Henry Jacks. I think it's blue vanilla.
You haven't got that one yet, huh?
I'm waiting to see if I want to drop that 750.
Man, you know 750 ain't nothing to you, man. You ain't got it.
man. Put it
What
on
you
the list,
talking
man.
about?
I'm thinking about
Mm.
it. I gotta
But
make sure that's what I want.
So let me ask you a question, guys. Full balls, 100 meals or 50 meals, is it important? I mean, what determines which one you get?
well,
Huh?
Because me, most of mine are 100 meals. That's just what
I
I
don't care.
prefer.
I'll
It
take
doesn't matter.
100, but 50 works.
Bernie, Eric, y'all have a
Man,
preference?
I don't care. I used to be hard on 100 mLs, but now I don't even care.
my collection
As long as it's juice, I just get it.
my collection is so huge now that I mean I won't go through half of what I got. So if there's a 50 or 30 mil available, I'll grab that. But if all they have is a 100 mil, I'll do that. I mean, I'll just go ahead and get it. Hey,
Miss Barbara,
Barbara.
man. Hey, Barbara. I'm still on that 100 meal kick, man. That's always been me. If I buy it because I keep it on. If it's something I want, uh, I have very few 50 meals. I do have some, but very few of them are 50s. Um, I just prefer the 100 meals. Now, if I got to a point which I don't see myself getting to where I'm in Andre's and Eric's range, then I probably would drop down to 50 meals because it wouldn't be practical to spend the extra money to get 100 meal when I have so many fragrances.
Right. Mhm. Can I ask a question?
I think for me it's more.
Yes, sir.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Dre. Finish your point.
Oh no. Some of these houses don't carry 50 mils. I mean, don't carry 100 mils. So that's why I'm really cool with it.
That's true.
I
Some
hope
of them
everybody
do.
caught that. Oh, yeah.
Do y'all believe in like when G-Man brought up the fact of 540 and we all said that we don't have it in our collection. Is there a like I said, I have classics in my collection that'll always be there. What would you consider a fragrance that has to be in your collection? Since
Mm-hmm.
we've all said that 540 isn't one, is there one that has to be in your collection that you feel like? Well, let me put
I
it
know for
this
me,
way:
I got Calvin
that
Klein
should be.
obsession.
Let's put it this way,
Mm-hmm.
and it's um and we appreciate everybody that's tuning in, but it looks like we got all women here. But
Mm-hmm.
it but I guess my question is there a fragrance that should be in every man's collection?
No, because everybody. I think a lot of people say that Creed of Ventus should be in everybody's collection, but I think everybody should have a collection of what they want. There's not a single in my opinion.
No, I agree. I agree with that. There's certain houses that I have. I would say I would have to have. If I looked at Clive, I'd have to say that I'd have to have an 1872 and a number one. If I didn't have any of those, anything else out of Clive, I'd have to have those. Um, Out of Creed, I'd say Green Irish Tweed,
Hmm.
uh, original Sentinel, and maybe original Vetiver. If I had to get rid of all my Creed, other than the Les Royal line, I wouldn't get rid of those. But the
Hmm.
original line, those would be the ones that I would have to have.
I had to go with the green Irish tweed. I would have said um, a Venice, but that green Irish tweed is mean. You know,
Yeah,
it
it's
is.
slick.
I really like that. That was one of my favorites.
Okay, all right. So let me
I
see if
got.
I can rephrase the
I want
question
to say
because
I
I
got
feel like
two that
okay,
I got two that can't leave. I don't know if I don't know if we're doing because it smells so good or just for whatever reason. I got Campfire Obsession and I think Cedar. I think Cedar. But that's been for some reasons.
I heard you
okay,
say obsession. I didn't
okay.
say.
All right. I guess what I meant by the let me rephrase my question. I guess I meant like as a fragrance collector. All right, like you collect if you collect Jordans, everybody needs to have a certain pair. I mean, a specific pair of Jordans. So if you're a fragrance collector, right? What's a fragrance that should be in every collector's collection?
Green Irish tweed.
Yeah, I'll go with that one.
Green
Really?
Irish tweed. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
No,
like
I'm
it.
saying because I don't have that.
I don't got
I,
it either. So
yeah, I like it. Hmm.
I mean, if I got cool water, if that counts as green Irish sweet, but
not
right,
at all.
right.
Uh,
You know what? I'll say Blue Day Chanel. Why
yeah,
not?
yeah. That's never going nowhere.
I
That's
don't
never
have
going
that one.
nowhere.
That's the
That's
only thing I
never
can
going
think
nowhere.
of that may need to be in everybody. I mean, it's just there to be there, but whatever.
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah,
name that I hear floating around a lot.
What's
That
that?
when I listen to other fragrance reviewers, and I won't say any names, but when they say that this should be in every a fragrance that should be in every collector's collection, one I hear a lot is Thierry Hermes.
Okay, I got that.
Mm.
I guess I don't
Um,
have a collection.
I don't got it either.
I don't think there's a single fragrance that every collection needs to have.
Right.
It doesn't make sense because I got Terry D. Hermes, or how you say it.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people rave over it, and it is good. I'll give you that, but
I mean,
it's
I
not
don't
anything I
submit
care
to
about.
that.
Like
I
half
just
the time I
wanted
have to
to
remember
know,
I have it.
if you guys heard that or felt that. Hey Tracy.
I've heard it.
Hey Sandy. Yeah.
That sounds more like a popularity contest, man.
What's that?
Yeah.
Something you should have based upon popularity.
I mean, but that's what I was saying earlier. I know when I first started out, everyone said, you should always have a bottle of Venice, even though it's not what it was at one time. But
I said
to have a
I'm gonna
collection,
always have a bottle of Ventus.
yeah, I mean,
That
it
don't
was
mean
something I was saying.
everybody should. Right.
But
No, I'm just saying.
that's a popular one that goes around though. Because a lot
That's
of
what I
people
was
say that.
saying. When I first came into the game, that was one of the top ones that people kept saying to get, and that was one of my first new scents that I bought. So, I mean, it's not really that big of a deal. I mean, you go with what you like because you may smell the Venice when you go to the mall, Neiman Marcus, and be like, no, that's not me. It's cool. But if I had to knock everything out of my collection and start over again, Green Irish Tweed would be the first one, and I build around it. It's well rounded. It's easy to wear. You can wear it to meetings. You can wear it out. It's very versatile, and it's not really weather sensitive either. You can wear it in the winter. You can wear it when it's warm. So I like that, and I can just build around it. So that's the reason why I'm saying that it would be a must-have in my collection. That's all.
I
You
agree
know what I
with that.
mean? The
Let
vintage,
can we
the
ask the
vintage is
ladies
a vintage.
in the chat
Uh-oh.
if the ladies would chat back which one they think every man should have in their collection, and see if they'll respond back.
I think Natasha about to say, what's that, Savage? That every man should have
No, she ain't
Savage
gonna
in
say Navage. Natasha a little bit more fancier than that. She gonna drop one on us, but she gonna be a little bit more fancier than that.
Natasha said, if you wear Savage, you belong to the streets. I died when I saw her type that, man.
All right, all
I wear
right.
Yeah, that
I'm
Savage.
interested in seeing what they say though.
Mhm.
I wear Savage all the time. It's one of my favorites.
What was that
Don't
joke you had in the dashboard?
you?
You
the
said it
vintage.
was on. I think Dre had a bottle
Oh,
up.
sure.
You might be. That might be Chanel.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
You
I took so many.
you posted a
Hmm.
picture of Venice the other day.
It was something that was almost empty or whatever, and you was like, you getting rid of it.
Ladies,
Oh, it's starting to come in there.
I think you just called me community property.
She said you community property.
Jesus
I
Christ.
know that's right. She said you community property if you wear Savage.
I mean,
You
hey,
hard on it.
and I wear elixir. Take that, hot
Oh, you
shot.
wear the Alexa. Oh, you go hard.
yeah.
I'm really
Somebody
gonna throw both of
said
them away.
Chris Collins, then Savage.
That one is fire.
Which way?
While we
Yeah,
waiting on the, oh, okay, she said Chris Collins, Dan Shavot. That is a beast, but I
yeah,
don't
that's a
think
banger.
that everybody is going to have that one. That's not one of every because that's one of those niche. That's a
Yeah,
uh, a particular taste. You know, some people. I mean, take a particular type of person to appreciate that one. Everybody's not going to have that one in their collection. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a good one. It's a beast. It's in my top 15.
Oh shit, for real?
For real.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Mm,
I don't trust your top 15.
it's in my top 15.
He
Yeah.
said it's
I
his
don't
top
trust it.
15 suspect.
All right.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
something about it.
while we waiting on more suggestions, fellas, do y'all keep y'all boxes? I seen that
Nope.
I seen that G Man had his box.
yeah. I
I,
keep mine
I
because
keep some.
Oh,
people don't know, man. When you buying these niche fragrances, the boxes have value too. You're not just buying the. I mean, you're not just buying the fragrance. You're buying the packaging. You're buying the bottle. You're buying the case it comes along with. Uh, just this case by itself, man. Somebody will pay $50, $60 just for the case.
mm.
Exactly.
No
Like
fragrance or nothing. So there's
a
value in jerk off. Same thing.
case like this is definitely got to be kept, right?
Yep.
It definitely got to be kept. Look at that. I mean, why would you want to throw that one away? You know.
Mm.
So
That's what I'm saying. In
those
cases
type of
like
cases and
this,
boxes, I will keep that. Now this, I'll keep it in case it gets sold, but it's not necessarily one I would keep. Right? I mean, I keep it for that. Right?
okay, this case right here, one of the best
Mm-hmm.
cases around.
That's your
This
Hey,
one,
wallet.
E.
huh?
Is that your wallet?
Cut it out, man.
Look
Cut
how
it
fat
out.
it is. Look how fat it is. I mean, he
Hold
got
on. I got
Hey,
it.
he
E.
got
I
10
think I
stacks in
think
that
some people.
bad boy right
Oh,
now.
that's nice. Hey, E. I think some guy came on comments and said something. There's a few things popping up.
Yeah. Natasha
Can't
said she
win
like
for losing.
Natasha said she like Issey Miyake on a man, and that was one of my staples, right?
I've got that.
Yep. And DV Brown Music said every man should have Cool Water from 1998. Now, I got a
Absolutely.
story about Cool Water. Um, I'm not going to tell it, but yeah, it was the last gift that I ended up getting from my wife, and
Mm,
um, and that's how I got Cool Water. I never wore Cool Water. I never owned Cool Water in 1998, but my wife
mm,
purchased it in 2020. Christmas 2020 was the first time I had it, and so I got
mm.
it. Mhm.
I know they're gonna stop talking bad about Savage. That's what they're gonna do.
Can't
Mhm.
can't
I'll wear that on
Winston
Twitter.
said Basharan, and they would buy my case, the Clive Christian case, but Basharan, they said Basharan is one should be in the collection. I've never
I
tried
have
it.
no idea what that is. I've never heard of that one.
They rolling in though. There's some good suggestions there.
I'm gonna get my nose on to see what it's talking about. Go
Oh,
ahead
he
and add
about
it
to
to the
add it to the
list.
list.
Go ahead and add it to the list, bro. We here now. Go ahead and add it on now.
Oh, Gia's can't win for losing.
Yeah,
Mhm,
That's who G is. Okay. Okay.
she late to the party today.
Yeah, Jill asked like last week, I think it was last week, she asked a question about one of the Clive Christians and being associated with Winston Churchill. And I researched that, and Winston Churchill was associated with Creed fragrances, not Clive Christian. And I think that was Tabaron Millicine was the fragrance he was tagged with, and it wasn't Clive
mhm.
Christian. No. That's one I don't have, but it's on the way.
So I know who made Calvin Klein,
I
and that
love
was
how they associate Savage with being toxic.
She said if you got it,
I'm
you
saying,
belong
bro.
Right.
to the
Like,
community.
Mhm.
we still be wearing them. Come on, guys, y'all with me, right?
Hey, no,
Mm.
I told you I had to perform on the other day. I got that in the elixir.
I wore it. I wore it. Was it Tuesday or Wednesday? I wore it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Oh, so
So
we all toxic, huh? Dang.
Let me correct that. Gia said she was asking a boy in Portugal a Creed for Humphrey Bogart. Um, that one, it was associated with somebody, but I don't know if it's Humphrey Bogart. But that's one I do have. That's a grown man scent. It's
Mm-hmm.
Shop Boys in Portugal. I like it, but to me, I wear it in the coldest seasons. But for me, it's a good fragrance, man.
Yeah, I think that one was by Boys.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's who got that one. It wasn't Bogart, it was Boys. Boys B Portugal. That's what it was.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. It was some Frank Sinatra, I think, was that one.
Which is fall and winter date nights.
I'm
Terrence
finna
wants to know what we think would be a go-to fall and winter date night fragrance.
mm,
Dan
I'm
Savage.
a,
mm.
I'm a right.
I'm gonna bow to this one, man. I'm a married man. All of
Y'all
mine are
don't
date
go out
night.
on
Well, you
dates.
still got
I'm
date
about to say
night
you don't
Y'all
go
don't
out,
go out
bro.
on
No date.
dates.
All of
Oh,
mine are date night since, man.
oh.
Guaranteed to come on with somebody.
Okay. Uh, Go ahead, Andre. Answer.
Yeah, I gave you the Chris Collins, Dan Savage. I mess with that. I think that'd be a good go-to. Either
Okay.
that or you know what? Either that or I keep wanting to call it the hypnotist. What is it? The harmonist. Hypnotizing fire. One of
I
those
agree
two.
with I agree with those two that Dre is saying. I also would say uh I would add Zherzhov's Naxos to that list, and
Oh
I would
yeah.
also right, and I would also add um Nasamato Pardon to that list. Now, but if you don't want to spend that type of money, right, then I would go with if you don't want to spend that type of money, I would go with Jazz
Replica.
Club by Mason Margiela and and uh and Tom Ford's Noir Extreme Parfum, right? But I mean, if you get Tom Ford, you're spending money anyway. So, right. So something else on the lower end is not one that I would really recommend because I mean everybody says that, so everybody's going to end up wearing it. Is Dolce & Gabbana the one, right? So everybody's wearing that one, but everybody's wearing that one. But another low, it's crazy that I can't think of low price cologne right now. But
I can't think of nothing low.
What is replica? Natasha typed in replica.
That's
Replica is
Jazz
the Mason
Club.
Margiela line. From that's what Jazz Club is about with. Right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, so yeah, on the cheap end I would go with Jazz Club and maybe Spice Bar
You know the wild part?
Extreme.
You,
Huh?
you know the wild part about that?
Right.
We are at a level where we think Jazz Club is on the cheaper end. I'm not necessarily cheaper. We got
That's not
price
a
now,
bad
man.
one,
Get
Natasha.
over it.
That's not a bad one.
Ligari man.
Our man is probably more of a cheap.
Yeah, I
You
heard a
probably
few
get that
people
around
say that
about
they like
60
it,
or
but they
70.
nice.
Jazz Club gonna run you about one something.
Mm-hmm.
So
You're right. You're
we
right.
out
Especially
of
you
the
did for the
spectrum now, man.
giveaway.
It's over for us. We out of there now. You got any, Bernie?
What's that?
Date
Oh,
night sits for the fall and winter.
Harriet from Parfum de
Hey,
Marley
let's.
and Leighton Exclusive from Parfum de Marley.
I think we're
Those,
getting close on time, right, guys?
You said what?
Oh,
we're
man.
almost at an hour, bro.
Time.
See, we running.
We
Having a
was
good
almost
time.
at an hour. You hosting, so you end it when you're ready, brother.
Hey, like and subscribe before I get to say it. Like and subscribe. Send it to somebody else. Invite somebody else on. Let them know what we're doing. Have them like and subscribe and have them join.
Look, we
Let me
get
just
we
say, keep
we
going.
getting
How about
we getting
they requesting
encore.
we keep
They want an
going?
encore.
I'm
Well, look
going.
Encore.
Hey,
at
Givenchy gentlemen, Givenchy gentlemen.
Yeah.
It depends on how bougie you are. Some people say Givenchy. Some people say Da Vinci.
Givenchy. Yep.
I probably, you know what? I'd add
Gia,
Zerjoff Richwood in there.
Gia asked if we remember Paul Sebastian. Man, I used to love Paul Sebastian, man.
yeah, that was mean. Yeah,
I
that's the
don't,
Yeah,
old
I don't think
good.
I,
That was mean.
I don't
yeah.
think I got that age on me.
He said, "Don't put the age on."
Well, I don't know. You 89 the other day.
Nah, man, not today, man. I'm 52.
Ah, okay.
That's
Oh
only
shit,
enough to remember Paul
that
Sebastian,
would
man.
he can be 52. That would make me the youngest dude on the panel. If
Mm.
he 52.
Not long.
Uh,
Huh?
Not long.
Right.
I'm
Dre
about to say,
changed.
yeah, because I'm going to be 47 tomorrow. Why not? As a matter of fact, in the groups, I want to shout out a couple groups too. The Fragrance Clubhouse. If you're on Facebook, go join that group because we're giving stuff away all the time. I'm lying, but I'm not. Go join it or not, but do it. And shout out to the Black Fragrance Addicts Fire Group.
BFA. Yep.
If you're allowed, to get in, you gotta get in how you fit in, whatever. And my birthday is tomorrow. I just want everybody to know that. So go ahead and buy me whatever you want. 2 weeks from now, it'll be my birthday again.
Dude be
Y'all can
wilding,
really just
man.
buy me stuff all the time. Man, don't even worry about it. Just buy it all the time.
Hey, Dre. Have you ever
Yeah,
had a psych evaluation done on you, man?
I
I
am.
think they got to. I think they got to have a fragrance evaluation to do that
No,
long haul, right?
psychological evaluation, not
I
fragrance
mean,
evaluation.
I don't think he can drive without them doing something to his head, right?
Oh no, they don't do nothing.
Mm.
Hey man, they used to say White Jacket Club for sure.
So, E, what
I
we
have
gonna
you
do next week? E, let the listeners know what we're gonna have on deck for next week.
Well, next week, tentatively,
Mm-hmm.
tentatively, this is an public school education show. So, right.
tentatively.
So tentatively, our show next week is going to be about fragrance layering. We're going to
Mm-hmm.
talk about we're going to talk about the layerings that we do ourselves, and then we may have this, we are thinking about having a special guest on the show to show how the ladies layer. So we are still thinking about that, and then by Wednesday we will let you guys know for sure if that's going to be our show. And then that's going to be us Sundays at 7.
Damn, I don't know how to layer nothing. Oh, go ahead. My bad.
Dude, wild
My
tonight.
layering, and this is not kidding. Next week, I have 2 fragrances meant for layering. That's all I do is those 2 fragrances. They're designed for that purpose. Other than that, I'll get an education from you, Eric. I just don't. I hadn't done it very much, maybe 1 or 2 times. So that'd be
I'm about to say
education resource.
we
Oh,
will be
we got
learning.
to
We will
shout
be
out
on the show. We'll
Detroit
be
in the
learning next week.
building. We got to shout out Detroit in the building. My
Oh
boy
Lord.
Avio Allen just joined. Detroit is in the building. We got to give the shout out for the 313. What up, though?
Oh, see now,
Natasha, if you
you
want to
on
be
this
on,
thing,
let us
no,
know.
You said what now?
I said, Natasha, if you want to be on the show next week for layering, because you layer
Natasha
the queen,
said
let us
she the
know.
Jam Master J of layering, son. She
I'm about
said
to say
she's the
she's
best
layering,
mixer in the
man.
community.
the
Okay.
layer master.
We
Mix
might
Because
get
ology.
you.
I might be in the audience next week. I need to learn
Mm-hmm.
some of this stuff myself.
Terrence Kingsno Johnson says I'll bring
Oh,
a notepad next week. Bring a notepad because I'll have one of my own.
hey E, she said she's off next week, bro.
I'm gonna send you an inbox, Natasha. We gonna link. We gonna put that show together tomorrow. I mean next week.
Mm-hmm.
VO, man,
You
check this out, bro. I know you know what that is, man.
he probably bought free.
Avio has a lot of fragrance knowledge. I respect
Oh, I
his
know.
fragrance game. He is on point. He is on point.
Yep. When's that clock run out, man? Because I don't want to. I don't want to
No,
pay for it.
you have to end the show, brother. You end the show.
Yeah, we
You
good.
in the
Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe.
Right.
Like and subscribe.
follow us on
Like,
Go ahead.
Instagram, Frag
subs-
Illuminati.
like,
Follow us on
subscribe,
YouTube,
follow
Frag
us on
Illuminati.
YouTube. We on YouTube at Frag Illuminati. Follow us there. Share us out to folks that you feel like that enjoy stuff like this. This is all we do is talk about fragrance. We unofficial with it, but we fun with it. So thanks for joining us, and I'm gonna let my boy G Man take us out.
Again, Eric, tell us the next show. What it's gonna be next week.
Next show is
So
gonna be fragrance layering,
and who's hosting?
huh?
Who's
Oh,
hosting?
I'm hosting this. I'm hosting next week, so it's a Detroit show. Everybody come out with their 313 with
Okay.
their Detroit gear on. No, I'm just joking.
What?
I'm joking. I'm
What?
joking. But next week I'm hosting.
Well, ladies
Okay.
and gentlemen, we appreciate y'all tuning in to watch us, get a little education, and entertain at the same time. And hopefully, we entertained you. Meanwhile, at the same time, providing you information that you can get from the show. I'm trying to see what my man said. Clive Christian, Don. I'm gonna leave him alone. I said, appreciate y'all.
Hey, we gotta acknowledge the fellas too. I know we appreciate the ladies, but a couple of fellas did join us, so we gotta say thanks for the love. We appreciate that.
We thank for all the support.
Right,
It's really much
exactly.
appreciated.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
yeah, and the people that's gonna watch after the show.
that's right.
The
So
ones
everybody that
that
comes in,
The
It
show is
benefits
gonna be as
alive.
big as everybody else. The word of mouth is gonna be whatever. So the show is gonna be as big as you guys help us make it. So share this shit, invite people to it, and we here.
How about to say, if you enjoy it, go tell your friends. Or else.
Mm-hmm.
Well, until another week, another weekend with the Frag Illuminati out. Appreciate y'all. And until next,
we the Illuminati, y'all.
Eric, you got to cut us off. I don't know how to do that.
Cut, yo.